welcome to the interview here on France 24. We're at the United Nations and we are honored to have as a guest the youngest laureate of the Nobel Peace Prize, Malala Yousafzai. Thank you for being with us today. You became famous after a tragic incident 5 years ago. You were riding in your school bus. It was attacked by the Taliban. They were looking for you actually because you had become an advocate for girls' education in your native Pakistan, in your region. They shot you in the head, but you survived. And since then, you've become a kind of icon for girl education. You're now a messenger for peace at the UN. You're here to meet with all kinds of people, including world leaders. You had a meeting with the French President Emmanuel Macron, obviously to try to advocate for also the Malala Fund, which you co-founded. Are you hearing not only nice words, but maybe solid things to come from the French president and other world leaders here in New York?
So thank you so much. I had a wonderful meeting with President Macron, and the message that he gave was very positive. I discussed I thanked him for co-hosting the Global Partnership for Education Replenishment next year, and I also asked him to increase investment in the secondary level of education, especially for girls, because that is the stage when girls drop out most. When girls reach a certain age after primary education, they face many difficulties because of which they cannot complete their secondary education. So we have to make investment in that. I highlighted this, but I also highlighted that France also has to lead in terms of helping children who are in conflict, and their education is really crucial. We cannot lose this generation of children. We have to protect them, and we have to invest in their education. And the message was very positive, and I'm really happy, and I hope that this was the first step, and now we will continue following up and actually work on investing in girls and children. And I also asked him to invest $300 million in the Global Partnership for Education in the coming 3 years. So hopefully we will receive a positive.
What was his answer?
Answer is always positive, but I think we will follow up and see what happens.
When you meet world leaders, obviously you mentioned girl education, they're all going to say, oh yes, we're all in favor of it given your history. They're not going to say no to you. But do they really act? I mean, we know they want to spend money to buy guns and to make war and so on, but it seems girl education is something they like to speak about but not act upon. Is this the feeling that you're getting?
I think that is true up to an extent, because most of the leaders' speeches that I hear, all of them are supporting education, and they appreciate that it is important to invest in girls, but then there's lack of investment in that when it comes to reality. So, and I have been advocating about that, meeting leaders from including President Macron and other world leaders, and reminding them that they have to invest in education. And some of them do make investment, but that is focused on primary level, and then education after school and university level, and they don't invest in the secondary level of education. So that's also something that I'm focusing on, so that they invest in the secondary education, because that's where girls drop out most. But as you know, politicians are politicians, and we have to keep on reminding them, keep on doing this work. And even if they don't give a positive signal, I will continue to speak to them again and remind them to different ways that we cannot lose this generation. Every day that they ignore education, we are losing children. We are losing a girl.
But for instance, a year ago, I was here, I remember a pledge by all the countries about refugees and migrants, and they said on education, they say, our goal is to put 1 million refugee children to school. And everyone has forgotten about it because the goal has not been met, obviously.
So I think it is unfortunate, and there are many other promises that they made.
And I know you went to some refugee areas.
Yes, definitely. I've been to Jordan and Lebanon. I went to Kenya and visited refugees there. I have been to many countries and visited so many refugee children from around the world. And I think it is really tragic when you meet these children living in these refugee camps without electricity, without clean water, and they're in such a difficult situation, but they're still fighting each and every day to follow their dreams and to have a good life, to have safe life. So we have to protect these children. Like in Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, some of the children were living there for more than 20 years. The Syrian refugees, they have been refugees for more than 5 to 6 years. These children have not seen their homes for such a long time. They have been away from their schools, and we need to protect them. We cannot ignore them, because once you ignore them at this stage, then they would never. It's really hard for them to get back to education and to get back into school.
I just wanted to ask you about Nigeria. I know you went there, and Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school girls. It also had girls being sent as suicide bombers by Boko Haram. Tell us about your experience between, girls not going to school and some being essentially enrolled in terrorist organizations.
So in Nigeria, the number of children out of school is the highest in the world. And girls are actually the most vulnerable in that part of the world. And I met girls who were abducted by Boko Haram and had recently been released. The Chibok girls, I met them in person, and I was really happy to see them smiling again after all that they had gone through. And I had campaigned about the Chibok girls for a long time to ask for their release. And these are not the only girls. There are so many other girls who have been kidnapped by Boko Haram. And then they turn them into extremists because these women, they have no other option. They go through the worst things that we can ever imagine in our life. They are abused. They are, if you hear their stories, it will make you cry, and it will show you the worst realities that are there in that country. So it is important for the world to take it seriously. They cannot ignore it. They have to coordinate with the Nigerian government and the authorities there, and they have to act on it. Like, you cannot just be silent, because humans needs to be considered as an important part of society. You cannot ignore women, and the way that people have been quiet about this is just completely unacceptable. So I went there, I met girls who wanted to speak out, and I met the Chibok girls as well, and it's really inspiring that these girls have dreams and they want to achieve something in their life. So I have been speaking out about their education, and I'm really happy that the Nigerian government has considered 12 years of education for children, but I hope that they act as well, not just announce.
Just as a conclusion, you're going to join Oxford as a student. A previous Pakistani Prime Minister, Benazir Bhutto, went there. So obviously some people are wondering, is after all this advocacy, first of all, if you can become a normal student, and then maybe follow her footsteps and go into politics.
So I'm really excited for Oxford, and my main aim is to learn, get knowledge, and meet these amazing academic people there, but also to make friends and to enjoy a bit of my life for the next 3 years, and to be a normal student. I'm not sure about politics, but I am proud of Benazir Bhutto. She was an influential politician, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, the first female Prime Minister of Pakistan, and she did incredible work for women empowerment. Not sure about politics, but definitely want to take full advantage of the university in learning and in getting knowledge and making friends. And I'm focusing on girls' education, my campaigning through Malala Fund.
Thank you very much for your time, Malala, and thank you for watching this interview here on France 24.